Welcome to this video. Classroom Management. The real battle. The real battle is with ourselves. It is common to see classroom management as a struggle between the teacher and the students. But I think the real battle is with ourselves. If we want a class to go well, we need to be as calm as possible. This will have a greater effect on classroom management than just about anything else. If we are stressed or angry, the children probably will be too. And I think the best way to deal with this is to focus on caring about the children and try to put our own personal concerns aside. The classroom is about the children, not about us. Be genuine. Children usually respond positively to genuine interaction. When teaching teenagers or young adults in compulsory classes at high school or university, teachers can more easily get away with a more formal approach and with less genuine interaction. But teachers who adopt this kind of approach when teaching children of primary school age or younger generally fail. We need to show ourselves as real human beings through the way we interact with the children. And be honest with the children, and smile and laugh with them. It helps to sometimes tell the children things about our lives, share photos with the children, and share our hobbies. If we can find ways to bring hobbies or sports we are passionate about into the classroom, the children will almost certainly respond positively. And we can have a lot of fun with the children. Humor can break down barriers with even the most difficult students. Though it is important to avoid laughing at children or using sarcasm. This may make some children laugh, but at the expense of others. We can also tell stories that inspire the children, especially stories where we or others we know have overcome difficulties. This can motivate the children to deal with issues in their own lives that may be having a negative effect on their behavior in the classroom. Being genuine also means not being manipulative. For example, if the children feel we are being nice to them just to get them to do what we want them to do, it can make them less engaged and motivated. Don't shout. Showing our genuine feelings in the classroom includes showing the children when we are not happy with them. But it is important to do this without letting it seriously affect us or making us angry. I know this can be easier said than done. At least, I think we should avoid shouting at the children. Shouting can lead to an immediate improvement, but it is temporary. And if it doesn't work, we lose a lot of credibility with the children, and the problems we were reacting to are likely to become a lot worse. To achieve the best results, we need the children to be on our side. If shouting works, it is only because we are bigger and older and have more power in the classroom than the children, and it reinforces these differences between us. Shouting is also stressful, and, as I have mentioned, we need to do everything possible to reduce our stress. Set a good example. Shouting also sets a bad example. I think we should try not to do anything to the children that we don't want them to do to each other. If we shout, "Shut up," to the children, it is sending a message that it is okay for the children to shout, "Shut up," to each other. And we need to follow our own rules. If we don't want children to send text messages in class, then we shouldn't do it. If we don't want children to eat in class, then we shouldn't do it. Many behavior problems in class come from the children noticing that the teacher is being hypocritical and is not following appropriate behavior. Be fallible. Setting a good example also means being fallible. Making mistakes and dealing with mistakes positively is at the core of learning. If we want the children to be willing to make mistakes and learn from mistakes, we also need to be comfortable with making mistakes when interacting with the children. And if the children see us as infallible, they will be less likely to interact with us in a genuine way. If we know everything already, why should they try so hard to discover things for themselves? Why should they try to tell us things that they see us as already knowing? They are more likely to take on the role of compliant learners, following what we want them to do. Be a giver, but establish red lines. Like many others, I became a teacher because I wanted to do a job where I could support others. I worked in business for a while before becoming a teacher, and was in a world where the focus was on getting, more than on giving, often at the expense of others. I think we are very lucky to be in a purer world than that. In fact, if we don't have a giving attitude to the children in our classes, we are likely to have a lot of classroom management problems. The more love and care they feel from us, the more positive and engaged they are likely to be in our classes. And it is important that our support for them is unconditional, not dependent on how well they do or how compliant they are. Having said this, if we're always generous, there may be some children who take advantage of us. If we establish a trusting relationship with the children, this is less likely to happen. But it is important to establish red lines that can't be crossed. It is better to have fewer rules that the children respect, understand the need for, and are consistently applied, than to have many detailed rules that are more likely to be broken. Once children start to break rules, it undermines trust and respect for the teacher, and can lead to negativity in the classroom. Be warm. Even when we need to be strict, the children should never feel we are withdrawing love for them. Otherwise, a bad situation can become a lot worse. I learned this lesson the hard way as a young teacher, when I was struggling with large classes of 40 to 50 children. I remember observing an experienced teacher being firm with the children without withdrawing love for them. It was very impressive. It took some practice and a lot of deep questioning of myself to be able to do the same thing. But I am always grateful for the lesson I learned from him. Respect the children. I think it is important to treat children as equal human beings. We have a professional job to do in the classroom, and we have more experience. But we are not above the children as human beings. We can talk to them with respect, listen to what is important for them, and empathize with them. To do this effectively, we need to get to know them as individuals and be attuned to their culture. We can do this by having meaningful conversations with them, by using questionnaires, by talking with their parents, and by finding out things like the kind of games they play, TV programs they like, or books they read. We can then connect classroom conversations and activities with the things that are important for them. And when a child behaves badly, we can respect that there is a reason for her bad behavior. And we can try our best to find out what it is. The solution may vary a lot, depending on what the reason is, but it will generally involve supporting the child in some way. It is also important to respect that each child, just like each adult, has their own personality and preferences. For example, some children will be more introverted and need more personal space, and some will be more extroverted. There are many teachers who try to make introverted children into extroverts. Instead, let's respect the children for who they are and set up our classes so everybody can be included. If we respect the children are more likely to respect us. And when there is mutual respect, there are far fewer discipline problems. Be consistent. Being consistent doesn't mean treating all children in the same way. It is natural to support a team that is losing a game, or an individual child who is finding things difficult. And this also sets a good example for the other children. We can treat each child as a unique person with her own needs. Being consistent means having a steady way of interacting with the children, avoiding contradicting ourselves, especially with classroom rules, and, when appropriate, having routines that help the children feel secure in our class. It also means teaching the language targets of our lesson in a consistent way. For example, if we are teaching phonics, we need to pronounce sounds in a consistent way. If we don't do this, the children may become confused, lose focus, and start misbehaving. And it means calling on children equally and avoiding having favorites. We need to support the children who need the most support. But it should be clear to the other children that we value each of them just as much as the children we are supporting. We should especially avoid favoring the compliant children over the less compliant children. This can easily alienate the children who are more likely to be badly behaved. Be positive. This doesn't mean rushing around positively or interacting with the children in an energetic way. This can have many negative side effects. It also doesn't mean praising the children a lot. I will look at the problems with praising children in a special video. It means smiling a lot and focusing on what the children are doing right, not on what we think they are doing wrong, and trying to look at the positive side of whatever happens in the classroom. There are always many ways of interpreting a child's behavior, and we need to try and choose a positive one. It also means having positive expectations. Behavior is closely related to our expectations. If we expect children to behave badly, they are more likely to do so. Children often behave according to how they are perceived by us, and partly as a consequence of this, how they perceive themselves. A child may be well behaved with one teacher and badly behaved with another. And this has much to do with each teacher's expectation and attitude towards her. Another way to be positive is to send positive messages to the parents. Some schools and teachers mainly contact parents when the children have done something wrong. It is much better to send positive messages. When you send a positive, heartfelt message to a parent, and the parent tells the child is more likely to come to your class with a positive attitude. I don't mean we should manipulate the children. I mean genuinely look at the positive side of what the children do in class, and then make time to let the parents know. But more than anything else, being positive means having a positive interest in the children. Being interested in a picture a child is drawing, or a sentence she is writing. Being interested in her pet. Being interested in her hopes and dreams, or the things that worry her. If the children feel our sincere interest in them, they are much more likely to have a positive attitude in our lessons. And we are much less likely to have classroom management problems. Thank you very much for watching.